Glad to have you back now. Nigeria has approved Elon Musk's Starlink, a satellite internet constellation operated by SpaceX, providing satellite internet access coverage to 32 countries where its use has been licensed. Starlink provides high-speed, low-latency broadband internet across the globe. The company received 2 licenses, which include the International Gateway License and Internet Service Provider (ISP), and will be trading as Starlink's Internet Services Nigeria Limited. According to NCC, the International Gateway License has a 10-year tenure, while the ISP license is to last for 5 years. According to NCC, both licenses take effect from May 2022 and may be renewed after the expiration. So let's get talking now what this means for the economy. How saying, so research analyst with Cardinal Stone Partners Limited. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. And so with the issuance of 2 licenses, which include the International Gateway License and Internet Service Provider License to Starlink, what does this mean for Nigeria economy, especially within the Internet provider ecosystem?
Okay. So thank you very much. I think it's important to note that the positives for the economy as a whole can be viewed from different perspectives. First, from the government side of things, I think one thing that was in the news recently was the recently issued 5G license, which the license holders were asked to pay about $547 million in licensing fees. 4G license also rating a couple $100 million, and do on the licensing fees for the Starlinks, for Elon Musk Starlink, we're not exactly giving a figure. We expect them to come out and at least disclose how much they got from this as we advance. But then again, you expect that it will be, the license fees also would be positive for the government in time of getting revenue. And then when you also look at things from the economy standpoint, a sentiment has been echoed in the industry, which the NCC chairman also agrees with, which is that a 10% increase in broadband usage always implies an increase in GDP growth of about 2.6 to 3.8%. So I mean, and of course, when you expect what you expect is the introduction of this Starlink would bring data usage even closer to, like you said, improve latency and fantastic speeds and help improve the broadband coverage. And also and then when you also look at things from the third side of things, which is the current low data usage in the country, which is expected to grow by about 4 times by 2026. Just to give a backdrop, telco contribution, sorry for the cough, telco contribution to GDP is actually measured by ARPU, and currently ARPU stands at about 4,600 megabytes, and it's expected to grow by about 4 times by 2026. And this Starlink introduction to the ecosystem is expected to also improve contribution and help achieve improve ARPUs and by extension grow the economy.
Mm-hmm. But why do you think Starlink is trying to get into?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I do hear you clearly. But I'm asking you, what do you suppose is the reason Starlink is trying to get into Nigeria space?
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So one thing that Nigeria always offers to, and SSE at large offers to foreign investors is tremendous potential. Like I mentioned, our ARPU, for example, is currently at 4,600 MB per user. Mm-hmm. But then when you compare that to the global megabyte usage per customer per month, we have a figure that comes in at about 9,400, and that implies that there's tremendous significant opportunity for this data usage per customer to grow. And then investors see this and are quite interested in taking a chunk of this pie. And I'm sure that's one of the things that Elon Musk and his team considered when decided to invest in Nigeria. And then also the fact that Nigeria's latency, or rather internet speeds, also somewhat draft when compared to what is obtainable elsewhere. They feel that they can come in here and offer premium internet services to Nigerian users. I mean, Starlink, market research indicates that Starlink currently boasts a speed of about 20 times faster than current 4G network, and so they feel that they can come in and with their premium offerings and take a significant chunk of this market potential.
Mm. Just before I get into the competition that this may create, help us understand, you talk about the ARP, what that means, I mean,
Oh,
average Nigerian may not understand what that means. And how much does do we consume at the moment when it comes to data or internet per megabyte? Or and then what is the speed as it is now, and what is the ideal speed that this development may bring to bear?
okay. So for the ARPU I was talking about, is just a measure of how much, on average, rather, data usage per month, per subscribers, kind of total data usage for the period, and divided by number of months. And for Nigeria, like I said, it's about 4,600 megabytes per month, and it's quite frankly very, I won't say ridiculously low, but it pales in comparison to what is obtainable elsewhere. We have an average in North America of 11,800 data megabytes per month per subscriber. The global average is about 9,400. So Nigeria currently, the average Nigerian uses just about 4.6 gig per month. But of course, if you understand averages, there will always be people who use more. Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the form of disruptions that this may bring? What some have predicted or projected, rather, that the entrance of Starlink may bring about disruptions in the information and communication sector. And so, what are the expectations here?
Oh, okay. So as far as disruptions go, if you follow Elon Musk's story, he has a track record of not going with the flow, of always trying to innovate his way out of things. And I think that's one of the things he's trying to do with this Starlink, by introducing a form of internet connectivity that we are not, quite frankly, used to. And one of the ways he does that is to beam internet connectivity via low orbit satellites, and intends to do that across the globe, quite frankly. And this alone already tells you that he's not here to play. It's not launching a satellite into space is not exactly child's play, and that's also one of the reasons why it offers tremendous space to displace or disrupt, because of the way it operates, the way it's booming down these internet waves to us without any little or no hindrances. So yeah, we are talking about
Hello, Mr. Coyote.
Hello, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let me quickly come up with the coming with these. Some analysts believe that Starlink has a competitive edge over other services providers. For instance, especially the GSM operators in the business of data provision, and so how healthy and competitive is this development, especially for those local players, GSM operators who are already in the business of data in Nigeria here?
Oh, okay. So let me go straight to it. So for the already currently operating MNOs, what we expect to see it will always be a function of how they react to the new development. Even they themselves are used to being disruptive. If you recall, the Nigerian telco industry started with Nitel, and then before the licenses were issued to the MTNs and the Glos, who more or less replaced them. So this new development, of course, we expect it to come in as a strong competition from a global market player who is offering, quite frankly, speeds that's this, quite frankly, dwarfs what they are currently offering. So yeah, you expect some initial kickback from them, and I think that explains why the license was somewhat delayed. I think earlier last year there was talks about the license not being issued, but then as regards how it will impact competition, yes, there is a lot of potential for Starlink to dominate the market, but one fundamental issue which we expect they to have is the fact that they are currently mispriced. By mispriced, I mean the Starlink hardware, for example, costs about $500 to obtain, and then you need about $100 a monthly subscription. Nigeria's minimum wage starts about 30,000. That just tells you that a large chunk of Nigerians might not be able to afford the devices as of now, and of course, maybe eventually you might see some drop down in this pricing, which would then open up significant competition. But current prices, I don't think, as much as the average Nigerian would want to have speeds that are 20 times faster than what is currently obtainable, when you consider the pricing, it kind of puts it significantly out of reach for them. But then again, like I said, Elon Musk wants to innovate, so I wouldn't be surprised if you can see some regional price corrections just to accommodate just to enable him win some market share. But yeah, if you're to compete on the speed fronts, you would expect that the Starlink will beat the MTNs and co hands down. But then again, if you look at MTNs and themselves, they also have a track record of being able to compete and innovate. MTN, you won't expect MTN to roll over and die. They have 20 years of operations experience in this space. So, and then they're already talking about they recently got their own 5G license again, which I mentioned earlier, not to forget. So, and 5G also offers significant upgrades to the current speeds, which we are currently seeing. So they would also be able to survive and put in a strong foot, at least in the competition leg in that space. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting going forward. Like you alluded to, Starlink offers significant higher speeds, but then their pricing might be an issue. And then the MTNs, who have a wealth of experience and, quite frankly, large balance sheets, are expected to be able to put up a good fight.
I mean, let me also look at this. Let's also look at, I need you to speak to these. I mean, Starlink has an advantage over them, an edge over them, operating via satellite. These guys, these local players, do not have all of that advantage. So what are the limitations here? I mean, how easy will it be for these operators to cope, given the fact that they are limited in terms of infrastructure and resources, if you compare to what Starlink is coming into the country to do?
Okay, so like I said, the MTN has, quite frankly, if you look at their CapEx rollout over MTN and other MNOs, rather telcos, Nine Mobile, if you look at their CapEx rollout, particularly the 4G leg, they didn't spare so much cash when it comes to aggressively rolling out their coverage across the country. And then recent data indicates that about 70 to 80% of the country is currently being covered with 4G, and then it took them within just a few 4 or 5 years to achieve that. So of course, if with the threat of new entrants, you would expect incumbent internet service providers to roll up their sleeves. And for example, again, I mentioned 5G. So far, the advantage for the Starlink is the fact that it's beaming out these services via satellite, and then most of these local players, not most, all, are still beaming via the usual mast and what have you, mast and fiber optic cable and what have you to beam their own internet service. But and yes, that kind of gives an initial advantage, but then you expect the wealth of experience to come in. They know the target points, they know where to set up their mast to actually be able to capture a significant part of the market. That's one thing to come in handy for them. And then, like I said, the subsequent rollout, which they have promised, is also, quite frankly, still aggressive enough for them to be able to retain market share, if not necessarily dominance, going forward. Yeah.
I mean, some experts or analysts have also opined that this will bring a lot of competition and may likely crash the price of data. I mean, what's your position on this?
So for Starlink crashing the price of data, that's more like a long shot. So like I mentioned, currently stands at $500 levels to purchase. So if anything, Starlink is coming in at a significant premium, way more expensive than what the MNOs are currently offering. But one thing about economies of scale is that as things advance, you expect this price to come down. For example, one of the things that is making this Starlink devices very expensive is the fact that it's mostly still in beta testing. And what that means is not essentially being produced in mass, but by the time you throw a mass production arrangement on this, and then you expect that economies of scale, and these prices could come down to as low as $100 per device. So I mean, when it gets to those levels, then we can start talking about Starlink crashing the market price of data in the market. But current prices, I mean, they offer $100 monthly subscription price. That's the way we're using parallel market rate. That's $60K per month. A few Nigerians can afford that.
Wow. If you're so sure that, and you're so optimistic that a few Nigerians can afford that. But let's look at how to encourage local players to come into this market, and give us your outlook or your analysis of the size of the market. Yes, I'm sure Starlink has done their job, due diligence about the market in Nigeria. That's why they are also coming into Nigeria. But let's look at the size of the market, the potential, and of course, how to encourage local players to come into the market here. What are the prospects here?
Okay, so prospects for the market, like I said, is the fact. I mean, Nigeria has a very youthful population, and of course, we youths, we have a habit, so to speak, of always wanting to be connected to the internet, not without reason anyway. And so the tremendous youthful population will always portend or spell out significant potential for market entrants who are willing to tap into that space. And then there's also the ARPU is average revenue per user per day, and which currently on average stands at about 1,800 levels. And so those are just interesting numbers. I mean, just to a quick and back on the envelope analysis, what that simply means is if you're able to pull 1,000 or 1 million subscribers on an ARPU of 1,800, that's about a billion in revenues already off the back of the envelope, like I said. So there's significant opportunities for anyone who is willing to play into that place. But I think one downside, one issue that's always plagued the market is the high barriers to entry. For example, the licensing fees for 5G came in at about $250 million, and that's quite frankly a lot for any would want to be entrepreneur in that space. But of course, there are still other areas or niches that you could find yourself in if you're looking to go into the telco space. Yeah.
Now, are there any, just before I let you go, are there any value chain, to some of these, development or initiative we're seeing in the internet, Nigeria, the internet ecosystem? Are there any value chain here? And what are those value chains that one can take advantage of?
Okay, I mean, for starters, you can the value chain analysis. You look at it from the top all the way to the bottom. So, of course, not everyone can be a full-fledged MNO, but there are other. For example, you can look at companies like Smile who don't essentially, though they are also working on a VoIP and VO. Then there are other like fiber, in which one of the players and then can go into, and then even the master.
I guess, Mr. Cowdy, can you hear me? Hello, Mr. Cowdy. Well, perhaps maybe this will be a good place to wrap it up. Well, Mr. Cowdy is saying, research analyst, Cardinal Stone Partners, we just want to thank you. We're about wrapping up before the internet issue, but thank you for your time on the program. Well, still to come after the break, expert says CBN's new interest rate of 13% to tighten borrowing for business owners. What are the prospects and what is the implication of these on the economy? Well, this is will form course of the discussion when we return from this short break. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.